everybody, to the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. We are talking today about the big confrontation that happened this past week on AEW Dynamite and whether or not that is going to be as big a feud as we think it's going to be. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys that this being YouTube, it doesn't care about feuds. It doesn't care about mic work. It doesn't care about whether you're a good performer in the ring. It cares about hitting the damn like button. So if you are so inclined, hit that like button down there. Make sure it turns blue or black or whatever color it turns on your particular browser or interface or whatever it is, and help out the channel, because it does, in fact, let the YouTube algorithm, let other wrestling fans of AEW and pro wrestling and channels like this know that this channel exists and these videos exist. So it does help out. I have seen it help out on this channel, so thank you very, very much. So this week on Dynamite, one really big surprise happened. Well, there was a couple of surprises, but the biggest surprise that happened was a very unexpected confrontation. Now, usually AEW handles itself in seasons. So we're going now into full-on winter season. Winter is coming this year. And I like the way AEW has that structured. It's a different structure than most other wrestling companies, where they'll do, every season has feuds, and then they'll have a pay-per-view. And after the pay-per-view's over, they'll start the next 2 to 3 months of the next season of feuds. And coming out of Full Gear, a lot of storylines were resolved. And now we're going on to other ones, and you're kind of wondering, well, where is this person going to land? Where is this other person going to land? One person we heard from twice on AEW Dynamite was MJF. MJF had a post-match interview that he had from his own special set that I noticed that he has, where he talked about a lot of stuff that you hear a lot of the YouTubers talk about. So he's clearly listening to all of the YouTubers and what their criticisms are and what people have criticized him about, and basically said, hey, he just proved everybody wrong, which is what I said in my Full Gear review, that this guy in Darby Allin, kind of did a big FU to everybody that says, AEW doesn't have ring psychology and guys like MJF are only good on the mic and Darby Allin's only a gimmick. Well, they proved that completely wrong. MJF impassionately talked about that. He came out later in the show talking about, hey, I'm the best. He's beaten the other 3 pillars of AEW's youth movement, and there's nobody in the locker room. And every time you see somebody standing in a ring and say there's nobody in the locker room that can do X, Y, and Z, you know full well somebody's going to come out. The question was, who was going to come out? And the person that came out, I wasn't expecting. It's something that we've all been waiting for. Everybody who's into AEW, when this guy came into AEW, that one of the first things we wanted to see go up against him was MJF. And here he came out, cult of personality, CM Punk. Punk came to the ring looking about as pissed off as he was during the Eddie Kingston match. So I was like, man, what are we going to get here? And here's the irony of this whole thing, is that we were all waiting for and salivating over, when are they going to do MJF and CM Punk? It's one of the dream matchups that they're just they've got in their back pocket. They've got like a dozen dream matches in their back pocket after all the new guys and girls came into AEW. This is one of the big ones, and now we're getting it. And the whole thing about it was the promos. MJF is probably one of the best promos in the business. CM Punk legendarily is one of the best promos in the business. And CM Punk has seemingly got his chops back, as we just saw a couple weeks ago with the whole Eddie Kingston promo, which was on fire. So we're all just salivating over for the next 2 months, what are these promos going to be like between these two guys? And this was the first one, and they did something very smart, and they swerved us, but they swerved us in a good way. Punk gets in the ring, the crowd's chanting, they're losing their minds, holy shit, and then telling MJF to shut the F up, and MJF's got his microphone, he's like, all right, and then he sticks his hand out like, I'm Max, right? And CM Punk looks at him like he's about to beat him up, and then he starts laughing, and then just shakes his head and walks away, and then he just walks out the ring shaking his head, and totally dogged the crap out of MJF. It was perfectly done. Perfectly done. That is exactly the way they should start this off. Not with him going into a big 5-minute thing that we expected, but CM Punk kind of like, this kid's not even on my level. And we all know that Max is on his level, but the way that he's big boying MJF, who tries to big boy everybody else, is fantastic. It's mind games and everything else. And, I'm interested to see how they're going to work it. Are they going to work it where MJF is going to be doubting himself in the light of now he's facing somebody who is a legend on the mic and a legend in the ring in CM Punk? Is he going to doubt himself? Is that going to be the storyline? Is it going to be a one-upmanship game? How are they going to one-up each other? I mean, we've seen some fabulous stuff from MJF. I mean, the whole feud with Chris Jericho and all the twists and turns that thing took was fantastic. The Darby Allin feud was fantastic. So now with Punk, the sky's the limit. The only thing we all worry about is that they're gonna lay an egg, and it's not gonna be as good as we expect it to be. But considering the fact that they're kind of tempering expectations by doing the first interaction between these two the way that they're doing it, I think it's fantastic. That wasn't the only thing on AEW Dynamite this past week. The show opened up with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Adam Cole, and another very long-term storyline with these guys. These guys love to do this stuff. They got so much history now to do it with. And Kenny, as we all know, and I said on my podcast, by the way, check out my podcast this week. I talk about Kenny Omega, CM Punk, and his comments about the wrestling industry. And I also talk about some movie news. But in that podcast, I was talking about how Kenny Omega is going to be going away for a while. If you've seen that video online of him and the chiropractor, he's pretty messed up. His body's pretty bad. He can't turn his head all the way. He can't look up. His shoulder's messed up. He's had vertigo for 4 years. Jesus, this guy's had vertigo for 4 years and been wrestling the way he has. And even though, people go, well, he's not as good as he used to be. He's not the same Kenny Omega in New Japan. It's like, yeah, because because the ring has been spinning. And he's literally in the ring. That's what vertigo is. He's literally in the ring, and the ring is spinning while he's been wrestling for the last 4 years. This guy is amazing, and just hats off to Kenny Omega and what he's put himself through to get to the point that AEW and his career and his friends have gotten to. But anyway, he in this promo said that keep an eye on the forward. He's going to go away for a while. Adam Cole's like, yeah, we're going to take care of it, and Kenny already he's like, I was talking to the Bucks, not talking to you. Pipe down, Junior. Cole got a little look on his face, but the Bucks understand what's going on. Another thing that other people have brought up too that I didn't catch the first time, but I caught the second time when I watched it right before doing this review. Kenny said that he hasn't seen the video from Full Gear. So he hasn't seen the fact that the Bucks did not stop Adam Page yet. He hasn't seen it. They're so good at this stuff, man. They're so good. That's why, it just boggles my mind sometimes when people dismissively talk about these guys. Oh, they don't know what they're doing, and they're this, that, and the third. I'm like, these guys have written some of the most subtle, nuanced, best booking, long-term booking crap I've seen in wrestling, probably ever. Really, to be honest with you, I mean. There's been Vince used to do some subtle stuff like this back in the 80s and the 90s. Crockett used to do some, and it's been a long time since we've seen subtle things like this. WCW during the beginning of the Monday Night Wars and Monday Nitro, especially with that whole Horseman thing with the Dungeon of Doom and Woman and Benoit and Kevin Sullivan. There was a lot of this kind of like subtle hints, and you had to pay attention to kind of get what was going on, kind of thing. And the subtle little word choice is amazing. So that's a feud that's coming up, and we know Bobby Fish and Adam Cole this Friday on Rampage are going to be teaming up to take on Jurassic Express. So it's Kyle O'Reilly coming in, it's Kevin Steen coming in. That's the thing. They got 3 months. Kenny's going to be out for a number of months before this thing all comes to a head. I think this is going to be a fun storyline to see the dissension between Adam Cole and the Young Bucks while Kenny Omega is away. Going to be good stuff. Meanwhile, Bryan Danielson, he pretty much turned heel. Some people said he was already a heel, and he just never showed it. I'm kind of thinking that was an immediate heel turn because we were all cheering for him, and he was playing to the crowd. But Bryan Danielson pretty much, he went full heel. I mean, he went on about slamming the hometown. Virginia doesn't like hard work. He went into, oh my God, he mentioned, well, when I won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania at an AEW crowd, that's going to get an immediate, but he knows what he's doing. Oh my God, I love it so much. And on contrast, Adam Page has said something, and this is the second time this week somebody from AEW has said something I've been thinking and saying for a long time. How about how the you deserve a chance are stupid. I hate the you deserve. Nobody deserves anything. It's a scripted fictional storyline. Nobody deserves anything. And he said it right. I earned it. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I've seen some other people now talking about it. Apparently, I wasn't the only one because a bunch of other people have been saying it too. Like, we hate the you deserve it. It's so dumb. It's so entitled. It's like he didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves shit. He earned it. So there we go. I love that. But they didn't get into a match. Danielson basically obliterated Evil Uno. And now next week in Chicago, which is going to be a huge show next week on Dynamite. I can't wait for this one. Colt Cabana is going to take on Bryan Danielson. And Danielson has said he's going to wipe out everybody in the Dark Order until Hangman Page gives him that title match. There's a bunch of other stuff going on in AEW. We got a big 8-man tag next week with FTR teaming up with Andrade El Idolo and Malachi Black to take on the Lucha Brothers along with the Bastard Pac and the Cody Rhodes. There's one thing in here does not seem to fit, and it's Cody Rhodes. Sorry, man, but I'm again, we don't know where this Cody storyline is going to go. Everybody knows Cody quit Twitter the other week. Again, like I said in the podcast, either Cody is doing the biggest work in wrestling history or he's actually that out of touch. I don't know what the answer is. We're going to find out. I'm kind of liking not knowing what the answer is, but we'll find out what happens. The main event was the thing that I was most looking forward to on the show, as we got the debut of Jay Lethal, Ring of Honor famous stalwart. He was Ring of Honor for a time period. He was also a TNA standout as well. His infamously hilarious promos with Ric Flair when he was doing his Ric Flair impersonations. All that stuff's great. They came out with the Macho Man, the college graduation Macho Man Randy Savage intro music. But Lethal came out, got his new theme. He was taking on the TNT champion Sammy Guevara. An excellently booked match. Another match with some good psychology in it, with Sammy selling the rib injury and still just going after it. And there were some times in that match where I started cringing a little bit because that table dive where he just went splat on that table outside the ring, that looked nasty as hell. Jay Lethal working like the boss that he is, the ring general that he is. This was a pretty damn good match. Great match to have for Jay Lethal's first match on the show in the company. He did lose to Sammy Guevara, which I think was the right choice. Sammy retained the TNT Championship. The Inner Circle comes out, and they all kind of commiserate around Jay Lethal and welcome him into AEW, which is basically what this was welcome to AEW, Jay Lethal, another great wrestler that's on the books in this company. And there was a lot more stuff on the show, but overall, those were the big highlights for me. I'm very intrigued about what's going to be happening with the Elite now that Kenny's going to be out legitimately for 3 months, getting surgery, getting his body healed up. What is going to happen with Adam Cole? What is going to happen with Bobby Fish? What's going to happen with the Young Bucks? Is Don Callis even going to be involved with this? That's going to be a storyline that I'm really going to be interested in watching. The storyline with Danielson, who's now gone on, just revealed that he's full on heel, and his vendetta now against the Dark Order and the AEW World Champion Adam Page. We also got all of the stuff with the Cody and how is he fitting? Is he turning heel? Is he not turning heel? And of course, CM Punk and MJF. A lot of really cool stuff's coming up for the winter here for AEW All Elite Wrestling. And my plans right now, once they announce where it is, I do plan on going possibly to Revolution next year. I'll see about it. I'm kind of thinking about it. Again, this is all because my travel is free. I get free hotel and free airfare. And again, if you guys haven't checked out my Wrestling with Finance channel, check it out. I am doing a video that's coming out this weekend that will tell you guys how I went to Vegas for free and how I plan on going to Revolution for free without paying for airfare or hotel. But let me know what you guys think about this past week's AEW Dynamite. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Don't forget, I got some free goodies down in the description box for you. Free trials for Amazon, free trials for Audible. You can get some free stocks from Webull and Robinhood. You can also get some free crypto, up to $250 from BlockFi. And also you can get free Bitcoin, I should say, from Coinbase. So now that the prices are down, might be a good time to check some of that stuff out. Until then, I'll see you guys for more news, rumors, and commentary here on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.